Hey, what's going on, everybody? It's Chris with InsideTheU. Thank you for stopping by. And I want to thank everybody for subscribing to the channel. We just reached 15,000 subscribers. It's a huge accomplishment. And I definitely want to thank everybody for that and let you know that I was able to make some upgrades to the channel with a new microphone right here. So hopefully it sounds even better than before for all the videos with interviews and live streams and any other content I'm putting together. So I want to thank everybody and really excited about the future moving forward. I know we can get to 20,000 just in the near future. Okay, so I'd like to discuss my 5 main takeaways with the coordinators press conference with Kevin Steele and Josh Gattis as they met with reporters from Miami for the first time. There were a few things that stood out to me, and also I was able to ask a few questions as well. Let's start with Josh Gattis, the offensive coordinator. And it begins with his offensive philosophy. You know, doing some research and also interviewing some people, they talked about his adaptability while at Michigan. And that's where I asked Coach Gattis was, how does this process begin with what he does in terms of finding out what the best offense to run is? And one of the things he said was that basically he's going to run an offense that's built around what the team does best. And he really feels like this next month is crucial in learning the team. He's been watching a lot of film to learn more about the team. So that process has started, but also him and Coach Steele and the other coaches have been able to work with the players this week in their workouts. So he's able to be on the field and understand a little bit more about what this team is all about. He's also said that he doesn't want to focus all of his time and effort and energy into watching film last year. And I will get into some things that stood out to him with the team a little bit later. But basically, he's going to do everything he can to find out that how this team operates best, where its strengths and weaknesses are, and that process is going to begin. And he's certainly able to build around the offense with what the team has on hand. And I think that's a good philosophy to have, because not all coaches do that. Some coaches have a plan in place, but certainly, you know, things are going to go in the direction he wants it to go in as he's here longer. But right now, he's going to find out how this team can be at its best with its personnel. And I think part of that process has already begun, and certainly spring ball will be a big part too. But even now, before practices begin, it's a crucial time as he learns more about the players. But obviously, once spring ball starts with drills and finding out how this team operates best, that's what he's going to do, how he's going to operate this team. And it's definitely one of the things that stood out to me with the press conference that he had. My second takeaway goes to the defensive side of the ball, which Coach Steele, and he mentioned, look, we're going to run a 4-3 defense. However, there's going to be different years where we pressure more, where we run more zone. So again, he's going to adapt once again to what the personnel is on the team. He's going to have his base philosophies with that 4-3, and they'll run everything they can out of that. But in terms of the back end, in terms of some variations, you are going to see some differences year to year based on the team that they have. So that's another thing that stood out to me with Coach Steele. And look, he said, you know, some non-negotiable type things from him, or they're going to have to play with a lot of effort and they're going to have to tackle well. Certainly tackling is a big thing, and it's going to be interesting to see how he preaches that and what that means in terms of what he wants to get the most out of with his players if they're not doing the right things. So that will be something I'll be watching for in spring ball. But he said, look, we're running that 4-3 defense, also with his defensive philosophies. At this time, he's open to either coaching linebackers if he needs to do that, or if he's going to be kind of a walk-around defensive coordinator where he oversees the entire defense in practices instead of focusing on a certain position group, he will do that as well. But right now, he's basically saying it's up to Coach Cristobal in terms of where he wants to fit him into the defense, in terms of how he wants to coach certain positions or not. So those are some takeaways that I have with Coach Steele, some philosophies in terms of that 4-3 defense. Stands out to me, but there will be variations. But I do expect this team to attack. I think they're going to play with a lot of physicality that will be demanded from Coach Steele. And there's some other things that stood out to me too, what Coach Steele had to say, and I'll get to that a little bit later. But my third takeaway goes to the offensive side of the ball, once again with Coach Gattis. And he has already noticed, he said he did a lot of homework on this team before he took the job. Look, Michigan was having a great season last year. They're going to bring back a lot of good players next year as well. Why would he leave that situation? And he certainly had a hard time deciding that. One of the things that helped him was looking at Miami's roster, and he felt like there was a lot of good young talent on the team, and he is excited about that. Again, he's able to be out there at workouts all right now, and he's already seen these guys in action, and he's excited about this good young talent felt like there was a lot of good young players that played a lot last year in terms of getting experience. And I know, thinking about that off the top of my head, with quarterback position, obviously, but the wide receivers as well. Even though they were led by some veterans, some wide receivers got some good playing time. So I'm sure he's excited about that. Although he did not specify specifically which young, talented players he liked. Those are the players that stood out to me. Also, obviously, at tight end, there's some excitement there. And at the running back position, guys are still coming back. They got some experience last year, but now they're kind of growing into that as well. So I'm sure he's excited about it, but that's a one thing to pay attention to. And it should give Miami fans and even, supporters of this program some positive influence in terms of there are some positives with young players moving forward. And Coach Gattis is excited to work with them, develop them, and get them better. Because obviously, Miami needs to be even better than they were a year ago on the offensive side of the ball. So he likes the young talent. That's my third takeaway from the press conference with the coordinator. So my fourth takeaway from the press conference goes back to the defensive side of the ball with Coach Steele. One of the things he said was, when a reporter asked about, if the offense plays with tempo, how does that affect the defense, that kind of a question. And he said, look, none of that stuff matters. And he's going to preach that to his team, to his defense. He used an analogy that, firemen get to a fire and it doesn't matter how it started or anything like that. You've got to put the fire out. And that's what he's going to say to his defense, that it doesn't matter if the offense was 3 and out, or if they're just on the field, or if it was really quick, or if there was a turnover, any of that stuff. None of that stuff matters. He's going to preach that definitely to his team. He's going to say, look, it's up to us to put the fire out, to get the job done. Don't make excuses, and don't whine about what happened before if it's out of your control. So definitely, I thought that was a very interesting thing that he said. And I think that's going to be something that, from a philosophy standpoint, that he can use moving forward, something he could preach to the defense and spring ball in the offseason, and certainly moving forward during the season. And I think that's important, because I think this team at times can get into a thing where it does make excuses. And I think Kevin Steele is going to quickly erase that kind of mindset around the program, particularly with the defense. And I think that's a good mindset to have, because he's absolutely correct. There are a lot of things that don't affect the defense other than getting the job done. So that will be good moving forward. Hopefully we hear more of that kind of talk, and hopefully the players respond in a positive way as well. And hopefully the players are understanding what that philosophy means in terms of how that can really benefit the team. So I like hearing that. Hopefully we hear more of it, that kind of talk. And I definitely want to hear from players what they think of that mindset as well. Okay, so my fifth and final takeaway, and shout out to everybody that's watched the video. I forgot to mention, but please hit the like button if you like this. It helps out a ton. It gets the video out in front of more people. So hopefully we can get more new fans to the channel, more Miami fans on board to what's going on here. Okay, my fifth takeaway has to do with recruiting, and it has to do with both coaches, because there were a couple things that both of them had to say that I thought was very interesting. The first starts with Josh Gattis. He told reporters that, look, Coach Cristobal is having these guys do recruiting 3 to 4 hours a day right now. That does not surprise me. If you've seen the other videos that I've put together about his importance and how he stresses recruiting, it falls in line with what Coach Gattis is relaying to us. So 3 to 4 hours a day is a lot. Not all coaches require that. But one of the things that Coach Gattis did say about it is he's excited about that. He's looking forward to that kind of grind with recruiting. I think if you can get a team of guys, a coaching staff, all buying into that, I think you can get great results. It can be a little bit difficult if certain people on the team, on the staff, are putting in more work and things like that. Not everybody's on board. But if everyone knows that that's what's expected of them, and I think they're going to get positive results from it. I think you can get a lot of success, not just with recruiting, but on the field as well. Because if everybody's on board, that's such a key part, and it's such a hard thing to do in building a staff. So hopefully everyone's on board with that with recruiting, because you can get a lot out of it. The other thing with recruiting that was said was with what Kevin Steele had to say about Cristobal as a recruiter. He said, look, he's known him for years now. Before, when Mario first started coaching, Kevin Steele's been recruiting South Florida for a while. Then he got to know him when Cristobal was at FIU. So he's known him for a while. And he said one of the things that stands out to him, if you didn't know anything about Coach Cristobal, is that he's a hard worker, but also he's a phenomenal recruiter. And again, hearing other people say it, it's one thing if reporters are saying it, it's one thing if maybe even fans are saying it. But look, when other coaches are saying these things, I think it's very telling, because Coach Steele doesn't need to say these things. He could just, kind of brush it off like it's not a big deal. But the fact that he recognizes Coach Cristobal is a phenomenal recruiter, again, I think that bodes well moving forward. I think that stood out to me. And again, that he's also been recruiting this area for a while. And I'd like to share some of the stories about him as well. So hopefully I can do that in future videos. But once again, those are my 5 takeaways. The main ones, definitely watch the videos. I'm curious, maybe if you have some takeaways, definitely drop in the comments below. What were some things that stood out to you that they said? Maybe some things that I missed that were important to you. Definitely drop in the comments there below. And I just want to thank everybody once again for subscribing to the channel, for watching all of the videos and sharing them and hitting the like button. It means a lot to me personally. It helps me want to continue to make content and also improve. Like I said, making upgrades to the channel is important to me because of the support you guys have shown. So thanks again for watching. Be sure to continue to like the videos and watch them and share them, because it's been great. It definitely has helped out the channel. Thanks again for your positive comments. Let's keep them coming. And also more content that I'm excited about on the way. So thanks again for watching. Hopefully you have a good rest of the day, and take care.